So yeah, as we know, like, you know, the dictionary increases every year. You know, they add new words to it each and every year. And like even the word twerk, let's say for example, like a few years ago, the word twerk wasn't in the dictionary, but because now it's such a popular slang word, such a popular, like, you know, word that most people today know what it means today because of like social media and other things. You know what I mean? That they include it in a dictionary because if you look up the word twerk, large majority of people know today what it is because of, you know, because of social media, etc., etc. You know. So yeah, sometimes even slang words end up getting, you know, entered into the dictionary because of their popularity and how well known they are and how well used they are. If you see what I mean, you know. So yeah, that's interesting. You know.
Well, words are. We'll have to do
an episode.
We have to do an episode on words one day.
Yeah.
Because I find words very interesting, you know. But like,
I have to do an episode where we break down some words and shit, like, you know, because, you know, as we talked about before, like words are, you know, spells, you know, words are spells, you know, you know, hence why we learn, you know, in school you have to learn your spelling, you know, they teach you how to spell, if you see what I mean.
They're like magic, aren't they? Words.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's what it is, isn't it? Spells is to do it, the whole thing to do with magic, isn't it? You know, and spelling, you know, teaching you, you know, spells, you know, how to spell, you know. You know, words are spells.
I like,
you know?
words a lot, though. You know.
Words are powerful.
I like thinking about words, like jigsaw puzzles, really. Like magic, for instance. You know, it's got music in it almost. You know.
Yeah.
Music, but it's changed to G for an S.
Yeah.
You know, you can relate to who made these words up in a kind of way. You know.
Yeah.
But there you go. We'll talk about words another time. You know.
Yeah, definitely another. I know.
Yeah.
Something for another episode.
Yeah. But let's talk about like history and all this, you know.
Yeah. Well, as we say, we break down the word history. As we said before, it's his story. You know.
That's right.
So that, to me, that's just saying that whoever came up with the idea of, you know, his history was, you know, I think it goes back to that whole thing of, you know, a male-dominated society.
That's right.
You know, from those times where the English language came about, we were living in a very male-dominated society where women didn't have any rights or etc. If you see what I mean, where men were seen as the, you know, the superior ones. If you see what I mean, and they called it his story. You know, because it's kind of like eliminating the whole idea of the woman's, you know, side of the story kind of thing. And, you know,
well, you know, I did sort of study it a little bit. You know, and if you Google her story, that means exactly the same as history. Believe it or not. Alright, it's got no different, you know, it's exactly, it means, if I said her story, it's the same as his story.
Yeah.
But her story is in a female's
perspective.
Yeah, or the author is a female. You know, in history.
Yeah.
Mostly, I think in history it's a male's authorization.
Yeah, predominantly. I think. Yeah, you know, especially back in the day. Not more well. Probably not. Probably it's kind of probably a bit more even keeled today, if you see what I mean. But back in those days, it was most of the writers and stuff like this were kind of, or anyone that was kind of like considered anyone of a renowned writer, was pretty much usually a man, wasn't it? If you see what I mean, because men were seen as, like I say, going back then, it was a very, you know, kind of male, you know, misogynist, kind of chauvinistic society. If you see what I mean, you know, where women were seen as less than. You see what I mean? They had to be subservient, kind of thing. You know, in those times we're talking about. You know, back in, you know.
I think writing is very powerful.
Back in history.
You know, writing is a very powerful thing. You know, I think. You know.
Well, generally, people they say the victor usually writes usually is the one.
That's
you know,
right.
the victor of the war is the one who usually writes the history.
That's right.
If you see what I mean. So throughout time. Over time, every civilization, you know, I mean, the one that came along and took over and you know, and etc. You know, rewrote the history kind of.
It's like, you know? Rome
wrote themselves in the history. You know.
You know, Rome was at war with Greek.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Greek had their city and Rome had their city. Yeah. And they're at, I don't know, they went at war.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they destroyed their village completely. Cartridge, it's called. Destroyed it. And they burnt the libraries. And took over the powers. And then what they did, they enslaved all the people, all of them, and started making schools for their children. You know, and putting them in schools and teach. You know, like it's how it began, really.
Yeah.
All this stuff. You know, do you know what I mean? The lower class and the higher class. Anyway, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the Romans started dominating the Greek people, really, you know, do you know what I mean? And destroying their words, destroying their books, and rewriting history completely. You know, and that's why I think we've lost, in a way, kind of history because of wars, in a funny way, where we're not being told the truth.
Yeah.
You know, they're disguising their murders in a funny way, do you know what I mean? And all this sort of stuff, do you know what I mean? But, you know, and they got Greek, because they won the war, Rome, all the Greek men had to pay a tax to, for a war crime, alright? You know, I can't remember what this was called, alright, but they made all the Greeks pay for the war that they lost, okay? And that, you know, they become slaves basically, or they had to work as bricklayers and so on and get paid for it that way, you know, and get taxed and all this sort of stuff, do you know what I mean? They basically all become slaves, the whole, you know, they got sacked, the city got sacked it's called, completely, you know, and this happened before in history, by the way, all this, do you know what I mean? It's where another city takes over another city and sacks it.
Oh, well, that's what happens. They take over, and you know, it's like like back in the day when they used to like when one village used to be at war with the other village, if you see what I mean. You know, that village might have been around for a few hundred years, and that village might have been around for a few hundred years. But that village, they're at war with each other, and one day that village comes up with a really calculated, strategic plan to go into that other village and take it over. You know, to kill all the men, take all the women and children, and you know, take over. And they generally, you know, and when they do take over, they win the war or whatever. They rewrite the history. Exactly, you see what I mean? And you know, get rid of that history that exists for that tribe or that village. Kind of gets eradicated. You know, and the person that won the war, you know, took over, rewrote themselves into history, if you see what I mean, as the victors, and the ones who owned that land, and the ones who were superior at that time, during that period of time, if you see what I mean. Like, you know, whoever, you know, the different kings that were responsible for the, you know, etc. You know, so, yeah, time in history.
Yeah.
It's all very interesting.
It is.
I love history though, because like, well, as we all know, there's so much historical information out there that you can never know everything. That is just a reality. But anything that you like I'm the type of person that anything that I'm passionate about, or anything I want like a deeper understanding or a greater understanding of, or just you know, fulfill kind of that kind of thirst for knowledge that I have sometimes. Like I research what I'm passionate about, if you see what I mean. You know, like things that I think we all do it. You know, it's all the things that we all, you know, all the things you're passionate about and stuff like that is the things you tend to kind of look into, whether it be conspiracies, or it could be into health, or it be into, you know, whatever, religion, or you know, etc. You know, whatever it is that floats your boat. You know, we all spend our time doing the things that we generally want to do, kind of thing, you know, things that we enjoy most, you know, things that we gravitate towards as human beings, you know. We all have different things that we enjoy, you know, that we tune into, different forms of it. Going back to entertainment, like we were talking about last week, you know, we've all got different forms of entertainment that we subscribe to and we spend our time on, you know, whether it be music, or sports, or learning and understanding, or whatever, etc. The list is endless, but, you know.
Well, talking about that though, you know, it is all to do with time in a funny way, you know, entertainment and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'd say everybody loves being entertained.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be happy.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to sort of like do what they enjoy most.
Yeah, true.
You know, and like I say, we all got different interests, you know, but there is a lot out there today, you know, like I say, they invent games all the time, they invent this or new computer games now, or whatever, and there's just so many things you can get lost in today, yeah. But you've got to remember, all of this was invented. All of it. Football, you know, it was all invented, okay? It never used to be. We never used to have that kind of entertainment. Okay, and when we never used to have entertainment, people used to be nicer.
Well, people are a lot more social as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, like people are getting so lost in what they enjoy, they're not. You know, like I can't explain it, but
well, most people today don't even have to go outside. To be honest, outside of work and that, there's a lot of people, mate, that don't even have to go outside. If you see what I mean, as long as they're working and they got what they want at home, like, you know, like even today, like we were talking about last time, you can even have your shopping delivered to your front door today.
Exactly.
So outside of going to work and shit, there's some people that don't even need to go out. Some people that don't even go outside, mate. If you see what I mean, they've got everything they need at home. All their entertainment, whether it be television and, you know, Netflix or Amazon or YouTube or, you know, or whatever, you know, they've got everything at home pretty much, you know.
Yeah.
Their own home entertainment system.
I'm just thinking,
you know?
like if because California is talking about blackouts at the moment, you know, and all this sort of stuff, you know, and I was just thinking, like, if we lost the computer, all of us, yeah, the computer went completely.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, they shut down, and they decided to shut down the computer.
Okay.
Say.
Yeah.
You know, and that would take quite a lot of people down to earth again.
Yeah.
In a funny way, you know, to do how it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, back to
well,
earth.
we would be really disconnected in comparison to what we are today.
You know, where would people? Some people, I think, would be completely lost without it.
They'd be lost. Most people would be lost, mate, today, because that's how our society functions and thrives today through, you know, internet-based, you know, social media, etc. You know. You know,
but it's not like water. Water's always been around, hasn't it? You know, but the internet's quite new. You know, people are wasting a lot of their time on it today. You know, but you do learn a lot about history on it and all sorts, don't you?
You can learn a lot on the internet, mate. It's just like going back to what we were talking about earlier, going back to time. It depends on what you choose to put your time towards, because you could go on Google or different other search engines right now and look up anything you want to look up and learn about. You could spend your time on the internet being productive, or you can spend it just idle.
That's it.
If you see what I mean, just literally just scrolling for hours on end,
or playing games,
like you know. So it's up to you. It's true. It's just what you choose to do. You know, it's all individual choice and what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think we've got to be careful what we choose to do with our time. You know, it's a very important thing, I think. You know?
But I think it's about, like we talk about all the time, balance. You know, it's okay to have a bit of entertainment and a bit of etc. in your downtime, you know, but don't forget to live your life too. Don't forget what's important, you know, don't forget, you know, your responsibilities and your priorities and everything else come first. Like, you know, you've got to deal with real life and reality and everything else first before you know. To me, that's how I look at entertainment. Like, you know, I look at entertainment as something you might do at the end of the day. Like, you know, I might be laying in bed, you know what I mean, at the end of the day after I've handled all my shit and the kids are asleep and I'm having my dinner or something, or you know, the wife's at work and I'm just watching something on YouTube or something for a few hours while I'm eating my dinner and relaxing, kind of thing, you know. I kind of see it as, entertainment for me today is kind of like a luxury, if you see what I mean, because obviously we're at work a lot and, you know, I'm with my kids on my days off and etc. You know, so, you know, my few hours of downtime here and there, I might watch a little bit of Netflix or YouTube or, you know, just for an hour or something, just for...
But do you know what entertains me most of all in life? Is my own imagination.
Yeah.
Right? That's very entertaining for me, because it just, you know, like, it can go anywhere, you know.
Think about anything.
Well, you know, I think that's the problem, alright, because people get lost in what they enjoy so much, you know, that they forget to enjoy their own imagination in a funny way, you know. Do you know what I mean? They get lost in all this world of entertainment which we do live in.
Yeah.
You know, even in like fruit machines or gambling, you know, that's another one.
Yeah.
Sex, that's another one, do you know what I mean?
Right.
It goes on, alright? And people, they don't really like being in a factory all day, do they?
No.
You know, stuck in, you know, doing the same job all the time. They like stimulating their minds.
Yeah.
Whether it's driving a car or something really fun. Some people like racing cars, you know, car racing.
Yeah.
Or horse racing. You know, people want to, you know, enjoy themselves so much in what they love doing, you know,
Yeah.
or they get lost in it, I think, personally, you know.
Yeah.
And they forget about their own beautiful imagination, you know, which is phenomenal. You know, I think the imagination is one of the most beautiful inventions ever.
Yeah.
If you ask me, you can't get anything better than it, if you ask me.
Yeah.
You know. Also, I don't think animals have got such an imagination, you know, only humans have got it. You know, a bee, bumblebee bite. Bumblebee bite.
Bumblebee bite, yeah, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it?
I call it bumblebee bite.
Yeah, that's probably sound like that. Yeah.
And that entertains him, you know.
Yeah,
Have a
like
go flying around like a bumblebee all day.
Yeah.
They'd probably be dreaming of that noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, sometimes I just enjoy my own company without no sound on.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And no light even, do you know what I mean? And just wandering around my own imagination, you know, and trying to make it bigger actually, to be honest with you, do you know what I mean? And I think the more you use it, the bigger it will become as well, you know. And you're not going to be able to use it so much if you're driving a car all day, do you know what I mean? You can't, it's impossible. You can't relax and use your imagination to the full potential, let's put it that way.
Yeah, get lost in your thoughts and...
You know, and I think like along, you know, look, not all people, I think you've got to be intelligent really, you know, but like, I think like all this entertainment out there, and playing games all day, whatever, you know, you're not learning anything. Simple. You're not learning nothing. You know, and you've got to be careful. You want to be learning things, do you know what I mean? Like if you go, I mean, when I go on the internet, I like exploring new stuff. I mean, like I said it before.
Yeah.
And trying to go to places where I, you know, like, you know, I love learning about history, for instance, like you say now. And I've never always been interested in history, by the way. I never used to enjoy it at all when I was younger. Alright, but when you're younger, right, you really haven't got, like, you don't know what your future is, yeah? And you haven't had much of a life, really, yourself, you know, and say, by the time you're 10 years old, let's say, you've got 10 years past to remember, you know, not that you're going to remember it when you were a baby, do you know what I mean, those first few years, but you can start gaining a little bit of history about yourself, do you know what I mean, and that's, I think you're starting to become awake a bit, do you know what I mean, by that time, do you know what I mean, because you're starting to realise you're alive, I think, by that age, do you know what I mean, you know, and then once you become 10 you start learning, especially at school, whatever, about there was history before you were even born.
Yeah, all the previous history.
Yeah, you know, learning about Jesus or whatever, you know, or Hitler, you know, who died quite 100 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we learn about all these other people that existed.
Yeah, about the wars and the... Well, it just depends on where you grow up and where you live, doesn't it? It depends on the history that you learn, doesn't it? Because like where I was talking about last time, like where I grew up in the Caribbean, like the large amount of history that I learned growing up in the Caribbean, because, you know, I mean, I'm you know, predominantly, I was raised in, all my education was in the Caribbean, if you see what I mean. When I was in school, the history that I was learning was kind of like Caribbean and African history, if you see what I mean, not so much English history. So when I came back to England, like I wasn't familiar with a lot of the English history and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because I hadn't really, like, you know, been taught that or had like a thirst to kind of like want to research it or understand it, if you see what I mean, you know? So it's not until I come back to the UK that I got a bit more of a deeper understanding about the UK, you know, English history, you know, of course, you know. But yeah, it depends on where you grow up and where you're born and the kind of history you're taught and what you know, because there's lots of historical events like growing up, you know, like you were just talking about just now, like there was World War II, you know, things going on, like, okay, like kids today might be getting taught about like 9/11, when 9/11 happened, that might be that was a very big like historical event, you know, 9/11. So I'm sure in schools today they probably teach them about that too, probably as well. That's another historical thing that happened. You know. So I think it just depends on where you grow up and where you live and what country you're born in, and you know the school you go to and the education system, and you know the history that you're taught. You know. And also, I think it's also good too, as you know, if you've got good parents as well, or good, you know, grandparents and people around you who can teach you kind of your history and your roots and where your family's originally from, or whatever the case may be, and you know the different people, you know, the different, you know, bloodlines in your family, so to speak, you know, whether it be, you know, different country, you know, different nationalities or whatever. So yeah, you know, it's all very interesting. I think it's important to know some history though, you know, to know some of your own personal history, you know. I think it kind of gives you a grounding as a person and a bit of an understanding as to, you know, the world that you live in, if you see what I mean, you know, your circumstances as a person, you know.
Well, I only know my ancestors up to my granddad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, likewise.
Before that, I don't know at all.
Likewise, yeah, I don't know.
And the funny thing is, the record keeping place, you know, or the Queen herself, whatever, you know, they actually got records of you going right back. Do you know what I mean? If you go to the birthplace, you know, they can trace your birth, you know, they can trace it back if you pay for it. Do you know what I mean? They keep a record of it all.
Yeah.
They have done for many years. Not in this country anyway. They have. I don't know about.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I was going to say the census, the general census, if you see what I mean, that everyone fills out every year. Well, predominantly most people fill out every year. The census that goes around, that's been around for a long time, hasn't it? Yeah. You know, they've been doing that for a long time. So that's been helping them to keep record and track of.
Well, no, I'm talking about like when you're born.
Yeah.
You get a birth certificate.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My dad had one too.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, and his dad had one. And his dad had one. Do you know what I mean? The birth certificate's been going on for a long, long time now.
Definitely.
You know, they keep a record of our family.
Yeah.
You know, which I haven't got a clue about.
Yeah.
You know, but if I wanted to, I suppose I could pay some money and chase my records.
You could do.
If I wanted to, do you know what I mean? But I'm not really interested, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're all one family.
That's it.
You know, but the human race.
The human race, that's it.
We're the human race, and we just speak different languages a bit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we're all human, you know, we all go through the general same type, you know, we all have the same kind of lives and shit, you know.
Yeah.
But, we all have to eat every day, we all have to take a shower, we all have to take a shit, we all need to, you know, we all need to take a piss.
I don't.
You know, we all need to sleep, you know, etc. Like, we all bleed, you know, we all die. That's something that everyone makes everyone equal. Death is, I think there's quotes kind of like that, you know, death is the one thing that makes everyone equal. You know, everyone has a time and a date, you know, everyone, you know, and hopefully we all have a long, happy, prosperous life. Everyone wants that healthy, happy, prosperous, long, happy, you know, life. But you know, we've all got a time and a date, you know. So enjoy your time, make the most of it. You know, remember what's important: your family, your friends, your loved ones, and your children, and etc. You know, things that truly matter in life. You know, the ones that the things that you hold, you know, most close to your heart, kind of thing. You know, the people you love, and you know, things that are important to you. You know, the things that, you know, for some people it might be their faith, it might be their religion. That's what they hold close to their heart. That's what, you know, helps them to thrive and etc. You know, it all depends on the person. You know, but yeah, just enjoy your time. You know, enjoy every day, make the most of every moment. You know, be glad to be alive. You know, and just hope that even if you know you're in a bad situation or bad, you know, circumstances, or in a place where you're in a predicament where you don't even know what's going to happen because there's so much going on around you, then all you can do is hope for better days. You know, try and stay positive, hope for better days, and try and keep your head up, and you know, keep going. You know, all we've got, you know, we've got time until it exists no more. You know, so just, you know, utilize it as best as possible, you know. Yeah. Don't get caught up in all the glitz and the glamour too much. You know, focus on yourself and bettering yourself as a person, and you know, becoming more grounded as a human being, and more you know, more intelligent and more what, you know, just a wiser person, and just try to grow as a person every day, and you know, try and look after your loved ones, and make sure you know, your loved ones and the people that you know, your friends and shit that you really love, you know, you treat them well, and you know, you know, just, you know, so that when you do go, when it is your time, when your time has expired, that you know, you leave behind a good memory with people, you know, that when, if you know, that when it does, it might come around to your birthday and they might have a drink, or you know, whatever on that day, you say, oh, you know, that was the day, you know, that was our mate, he's gone now, but that was his birthday and we're gonna have a drink to him to honour him, to remember him, kind of thing, you know. So yeah, we all leave behind a legacy in some way, shape or form, whether it be very minuscule, you know, or you know, or you know, or a bigger legacy, you know, depending on who you are, you know. So just try to leave behind a good legacy, you know. You know, that's
I mean, like, say the moon started moving, right, and it hit the earth and ended the earth, all this would end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd all end.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. You know, and that could happen tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Something could happen tomorrow.
Well, right now we were experiencing a lot of solar flares, and if there was to be a really bad solar flare, mate, you know what I mean, where there's, you know, a large solar flares.
Like, you know, like people always thinking the world's going to end, right?
Yeah,
all the way through history.
Throughout history, yeah, they've been saying that, mate.
Whatever. Yeah. So I don't worry about the future whatsoever. Ever.
Well, the world might end as we know it. It might change. It might end as we know it at that time. Things might change and evolve and grow, but it's not ever going to end. If you see what I mean, you know. You know, unless the planet is completely blown up. That's the only way it's going to end. If the planet is completely blown up to smithereens, literally everything, all of a sudden something happens and it all goes, like, you know, mushroom cloud, the whole planet.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to end, isn't it? If you see what I mean, you know? If you get what I'm saying, you know?
No, I think there's other ways for ending, you know, like
but
the oxygen might disappear.
That's true.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then everything alive would die in 3 minutes. You know? Can you imagine the oxygen just disappearing?
All of a sudden.
You know.
All of a sudden, everyone's just standing up and they're choking. Can't breathe. Oxygen. You know,
that's what oxygen is what we rely on most.
Yeah.
By the way.
That'd be a great film, mate. You could make a great film like that.
What, no oxygen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storyline, kind of like.
What, oxygen?
And like people having to pay for oxygen to survive.
Yeah.
Like that'd be the storyline about the premise of the film. People having to, you know, people having to pay for oxygen to survive, and you know, like you said, you've got 3 minutes to survive without it. So if you run out, then you've got to find that money. You've got to find the next bit of money.
Yeah.
To buy, you know, buy your next subscription of oxygen. You know.
You're giving someone a good idea, aren't we?
Yeah, that'd be a bloody great film. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you ever make a film like that, anyone out there, if you ever steal that idea and make a film, we need some credit, yeah, and a little 5 or 10% of the you know, of the earnings, you know. Yeah.
But I mean, that's nothing. Films, yeah.
Yeah.
Some films what you watch, you know, they put you back in history basically.